Look at this. Here we have in Raw Story. Trump's rapidly deteriorating health reaches level of emergency, says conservative lawyer. Chris Tro, a conservative appellate lawyer and former GOP campaign official, warned on Friday that Trump's deteriorating health was serious enough to be considered an emergency and pitched what he called a politically achievable path forward to addressing it. Quote, President Trump appears to be deteriorating by the day. He is confabulating. He is demonstrating poor judgment, Tro wrote in an op-ed published Friday in The Hill. Even before he began threatening to commit genocide against Iran and posted a picture of himself as Jesus, he had been exhibiting poor impulse control. He has also begun speaking like a 6-year-old. He talks about the nuclear dust and says things like, they've dropped a couple of water mines. We've defeated all of their water boats, too. What the fuck? I always said about Trump that if you, instead of listening to him say some shit, if you read in a transcript what he was saying, he comes across as like 3 times as deranged. And the reason I say that is oftentimes he can use his charisma to sort of paper over how incoherent his shit is. But when you read it, when it's written down and you read it, you go, oh my word, this guy's like, he's gone mentally. All right, he says, commentary on Trump's allegedly declining health is not new, and many critics have suggested invoking the 25th Amendment to have the president forcibly removed from office on the grounds that he no longer had the mental capacity to serve as commander-in-chief. Tro dismissed invoking the 25th Amendment as a realistic path forward and instead offered an alternative plan. Quote, we need to put aside fantasies about impeachment and the 25th Amendment and focus on fixes we can actually implement, Tro wrote. So let's have Congress pass a bill that gives the Gang of Eight immediate and unredacted access to all of Trump's medical records. Unlike calls to invoke the 25th Amendment, this reform is politically achievable. It doesn't require Republicans to choose sides either. You can both support Trump and believe presidents and their closest loyal aides should not be able to cover up presidential infirmity. Tro likened this approach to the Epstein Files Transparency Act and argued that such a proposal would be easier for Republicans to support, much as they had with the EFTA. More than anything, however, Tro urged lawmakers to act swiftly before it's too late. Quote, no one knows what the future may bring, Tro wrote, but if you genuinely believe that Trump is fine now, at almost 80 years of age, his mental fitness is not going to improve over the next 2 years, 8 months, and 27 days. Something must be done. So here you have a conservative lawyer going, hey man, y'all got to do some shit about this. This is not acceptable. This cannot go on, bro. He came out after the alleged attempted White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, and he said the following. Ready?
Everybody's asking me whether or not I think the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night in D.C. was staged, and the long and short of it is no.
So the man who every single mass shooting that's happened in this country for decades, everyone, false flag, Obama's trying to take your guns even though he never took your guns, false flag, it's all false flag, it's all fake, it's all the Bilderbergs, it's all the Illuminati, they're all working together, they're all trying to, interdimensional demons are trying to grab a hold of your mind and change your mind and make you accept to live in Hobbit homes like Agenda 21, and everything's fake. Everything is a conspiracy, except when there's actual evidence of a conspiracy. And then it's, no, this one's actually real. Why? Because Trump's involved and I still suck Trump off even though Trump hates me and threw me under the bus. What a loser. Now, by the way, this is glorious. So here are some of the replies. Some people were never told the story of the boy who cried wolf as a child. Integrity and transparency means something. Once they're lost, so is all trust. Somebody says, yeah, Alex done burned bridges with his longtime supporters. Nothing he says is relevant now, especially when we can see with our own 2 eyes how fake everything actually is. This person says, did anyone tell these people there's a shooter in the building and they're just sort of like standing around? I mean, yeah, they lie constantly, oftentimes for like no reason, but this is totally real, guys. This person says, just because the other stuff is a lie doesn't mean this is. Brother, do I have a theory for you? Old Alex has to make all that money back he owes. He got paid off as well, along with Candace and Tucker. That's all these motherfuckers care about is the money and fuck the integrity. LOL, Alex is a pathetic idiot, completely bought and paid for. Alex Jones said the suspect was shot twice. I believe that is wrong. I do not believe he was shot at all. Alex Jones is so fucking stupid. Does anyone listen to him, or do you watch it just to cringe at him? Can he fuck off already? Now we definitely know it was staged. LOL, Alex is protecting himself now. He knows it's fake and staged. Get the fuck out of here with this Alex Jones bullshit. Bro, Trump staged a fake shooting for Melania's birthday. Bro, 100% of people are like, fuck you.
This guy's obviously another of these left-wing lunatics who's come to kill the president. 3 assassination attempts on the president now. Charlie is dead. You have people on the left lionizing Luigi Mangione.
Well, there's a bar in Wisconsin.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
You have polling showing a tolerance for political violence on the left. And I heard Hakeem Jeffries say this week, it's maximum warfare all the time.
We are in an era of maximum warfare. Everywhere, all the time.
We have a violent streak on the left and a rhetoric problem on the left, and it must be acknowledged today.
When I was at the Department of Justice, what we found is after the 2020 election, there was a significant rise of threats to all elected leaders, state legislators, some who were killed, to our president, Joe Biden at the time, Barack Obama. Someone tried to go into his residence. This is a problem.
Who's the president?
Hold on.
How many assassination attempts?
There are several assassination attempts to other presidents that were not successful. I agree. It should be investigated about why they continue. What are the failures of the Secret Service?
Yes, and the Democratic just quickly, the Speaker of the House in Minnesota, a Democrat, lost her life to political violence this past summer. This is not solely a problem on the left. It is a problem across the board. It is a rising crisis.
Don't downplay it this
way. It
way.
is a rising crisis in this country.
Stop generalizing the left.
Appalling.
And stop generalizing the left as the entire left.
Candidates campaigning with Hassan
Listen to me. Stop generalizing the left as the left is the entire problem. I'm not mad at you,
we have a left
Scott. I want you to be truthful.
Yeah, and you have, as many of your fellow Democrats, have used some heated rhetoric against the president. And do you think twice about that when something like this happens?
What rhetoric do you have in mind?
Just talking about some of the fact that he, is terrible for this country and so on and so forth. I understand that that's your democratic right, but overall, do you
I
have
have
a
no
responsibility?
personal problem with Donald Trump at all. I mean, I talk about the policies of this administration, the authoritarianism like we saw on display in Minneapolis, where 2 of our citizens were gunned down in the streets simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and others have died in custody. I'm talking about policies. I don't personalize it, and I certainly have never called the press the enemy of the people. I think the press are the people's best friend, and that's why it's written right there into the First Amendment. We need the press to be a vigilant watchdog against every level of government, federal, state, local, all of it.
You're not going to get an argument from me on that. Before I let you go,
would you say it's the end of the U.S. empire? And to make that case, I would argue, number one, when you have no more soft power left and you only have hard power, it's over. Because in the long run, people simply won't accept that in other countries. So the project is going to fall apart under its own weight. But number two, and I'll throw this up on screen here from friend of the show and journalist Murtaza Hussain, he says, interesting Chinese expert paper on how to take advantage of what is seen as declining U.S. hegemonic power, not by seeking a direct confrontation, but by buying out U.S. imperial assets gradually as they become unsustainable due to overreach. So in other words, it's that meme that people are sharing these days of the U.S. like stabbing itself repeatedly and the rest of the world looking at them going like, what are you doing? Is it your opinion as well that basically the U.S. empire is already over? It's just a matter of time until it functionally unwinds?
I actually think that not only is the U.S. empire dying, I think that Zionism is dying too. And I think what Netanyahu has done is basically he's delegitimized the regime in the eyes of billions of people across the world. I mean, when I say billions, I mean people people who are politically aware across the world. And now he's also, he thinks he's doing the smart thing by having the U.S. wage war against Iran. And of course he's doing harm to Iran and the United States. But he's also further angering people across the world for destroying their lives or wrecking their lives or making their lives much more difficult because of Israel and Zionism. And I think this is going to have a very, very huge impact in the months and years to come. But I think we are in the dying period of Zionism. It doesn't mean it's going to end tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, or 2 months from now, or 2 years from now. But I think it is a terminal decline. I also think the U.S. empire is not dead, but it's dying. But it's becoming increasingly dangerous and ruthless.
So, the Daily Beast says the following. A whole mountain is in the sights of one of Trump's longest-standing hangers-on. Our must-read bulletin from inside D.C. discloses. So as you can see here, it says, Trump's sycophants jaw-dropping renaming plot. And it says, Mount Trump, All right, you ready for this? So you click on the piece, you scroll down. Now, it is one of those paywalled things here, but you can see here very clearly, it says, Donald Trump's special envoy for global partnerships is flying to Africa on a mission of high importance to change the name of Mount Kilimanjaro to Mount Trump. Quote, I was talking to the minister of Tanzania. I said, I'm coming home, but I'm changing the name. Paolo Zampoli said in Washington on Friday. Now, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, those of you in the comment section, but isn't this Paolo Zampoli guy, wasn't he in the news recently because he got basically like the mother of his son or the mother of his kid deported? He asked Trump to use ICE to deport the mother of his kid, and I think Trump did it, right? I think he's also in the news because wasn't he involved with Jeffrey Epstein and Melania in some kind of way? I believe, and look that up. Look that up. Don't take my word for it. I might be mixing up names here, but I think this guy was also involved with Jeffrey Epstein and Melania in certain ways. But this guy traveled to fucking Tanzania to try to get them to change the name of Mount Kilimanjaro to Mount Trump. Guys, I don't even understand in theory why you would do that. Has Trump ever been to Tanzania? Has he ever climbed Mount Kilimanjaro? Is there some stretch of an argument as to why it makes sense to do that? Or is it literally just the ego is so colossal and this guy is trying to suck him off so aggressively that he's like, oh, we'll just name this shit after you too. I'm struggling with this, man. I did not know it was possible in the year of our Lord, 2026, for people to be this pathetic and this loathsome and this silly. But I told you guys this from the beginning. The next Democratic president, day number 1, you need to rip his name off fucking everything. And I don't just mean the shit that is going on now. I mean the shit that it was on before. I mean, like, I think we should liquidate the wealth of the entire family. It's not a family. It's a criminal syndicate. It's a cartel. I think we should liquidate all of their wealth. I think we should take it and we should redistribute it and we should give people health care and education and give kids in school free school breakfast and free school lunch. That's what we need to do. Because to let this shit stand is fucking completely and utterly unacceptable. You want to rename fucking Mount Kilimanjaro? Oh my God, bro. Let me show you this here. Representative Chip Roy, a Republican of Texas, which, by the way, that is the fakest fucking name I've ever heard. Chip Roy? Chip Roy. Your name sounds like a cookie. Like, what is that? I'm Chip Roy. That's right. Well, what did Chip Roy do? He introduced a bill called the Mamdani Act for Zoran, right? It targets Marxists, Islamists, and CCP affiliates for deportation and denaturalization. So in other words, if you are an immigrant and you're left of center, it targets you for deportation. They want to, in their heart of hearts, not so subtly, they want to deport Zoran Mamdani. They would do anything and everything they possibly could to deport Zoran Mamdani. That's the goal here. Deport Zoran and everybody like him. They would love to deport Hassan if they could. Too bad Hassan was born in New Jersey, right? But these are the people they want to deport. They want to deport anybody who's left of center and an immigrant. If you have brown skin and you're not MAGA, boy, oh boy, do they want to put you to the front of that line. In the same way, these same sons of bitches, what did they do? They deported people who made jokes after Charlie Kirk was killed. I wish I was kidding. I'm not kidding. They ruined the lives and arrested people who spoke out against Israel's genocide of Palestinians in Gaza. Think Mahmoud Khalil. Think Rumeysa Ozturk. They've banned free speech on that issue. And think about what this really is. This is an anti-free speech bill. That's what this is. This is a deeply anti-free speech bill. When they say, oh, if you're a Marxist or an Islamist, what does that even mean? By what standard? By what definition? What does that mean? You're saying thought crimes. Thought crimes. Do you believe in universal health care? Do you believe in unions? Do you believe in direct democracy? Well, then, if you're that and an immigrant, we're going to kick you out of here. So I like the first reply here to Chip Roy. Chip Roy hates Zoran because Zoran opposes Epstein. It's that simple. Bro, these guys have completely and utterly lost the plot. And as per usual, I love that this drops on the exact same day that we learn that immigrants are great for this country. Not that you guys didn't know that, not that I didn't know that, not that we haven't been making that case for a long time, right? We know as a matter of fact that immigrants, both undocumented and documented, commit crime at a much lower rate than natural-born American citizens, right? We already knew that. That they're some of the hardest working people, some of the most family-oriented people. But now we also get this. New study, Cato Institute. Illegal immigrants have paid about $3 trillion in taxes over the last 30 years and likely reduced deficits by $1.7 trillion.
You're a proud democratic socialist. It's clear Republicans plan to use you and that platform as an attack point come the midterms. Do you feel pressure to prove that your brand of democratic socialism works before the midterms?
I feel pressure from New Yorkers to deliver for them on their day-to-day needs. If Republicans want to attack a record of making it easier for families to raise their kids in the city, of workers to get paid what they're owed, of New Yorkers to get around the 5 boroughs, they can feel free to attack that. But what they will find is that the reason so many people across the city and across the country have lost faith in politics is because of that sense that politics has less and less of a relevance to their day-to-day needs. And in fact, one of the most relevant things that we can be doing in our politics today is addressing the material needs of working class people. That's exactly what we focused on.
What I'm asking is, whether you like it or not, you have been made to seem like a boogeyman of some kind from the Republicans, especially when you were running. So do you feel an added sense of pressure nationally because of the face you've become of the Democratic Party and specifically the progressive part of this party?
I'll be honest with you, I don't let myself think too much about what Republicans seek to portray me as. The power of an ideology is judged in the worth of its delivery. Delivery, at the end of the day, is every single thing that we want to do. It's why I spoke on Sunday about pothole politics as a way we describe the work that we do. Because for a long time, Republicans have sought to describe themselves as being driven by the needs of working people, when in reality we've seen a chasm in what they've actually delivered for those people. I mean, look at the war in Iran today. We're talking about a federal administration that has spent close to $30 billion killing thousands of people at a time when working class people across this country cannot afford the bare minimum. To be told that a city-run grocery store is implausible, but spending more than $500 million a day to kill people in Iran and Lebanon is not only plausible but necessary. It speaks to a broken kind of politics. And what we're showing is that we can put forward not just our principles, but also the practical impacts of this work. We can deliver universal childcare and change 6,700 catch basins. We can take on bad landlords across the city and start to repave more than 1,000 miles of roadway. We can do all of these things where we've been told in the past you can only do one.
Has the war in Iran had an outsized impact specifically on the economy of the city?
Yes, the war in Iran has had an impact on the economy of this country. And even more than the economy, it's had an impact on the people.
Republicans are so fucking lucky that this guy can't run for president because he wasn't born in the U.S. They are so fucking lucky. Okay, but this one is probably my favorite. Listen to this.
Now that you've met with him, that you've spoken with him multiple times, do you still think he's a fascist?
Yes.
And do you tell him that?
Yes.
Now, how does he react?
I think everyone saw in the conversation we had in the Oval Office after our first meeting.
Look, you got to make it real for people. You got to break it down in simple terms. You got to say look, here's what we're doing. Here's why it works, and have the right villains, bro. How many times have I said this to Democrats? Republicans have their villains. They're just wrong about who's a villain. They say immigrants are a villain and black people are a villain and trans people are a villain. They got all their villains and they're wrong about all of that shit. We have the right villains. The right villains are the fucking fascists and the warmongers and the billionaires, right? That's who it is. So I hope any potential Democrats who could be the next president are watching this right now, and you guys understand that's literally mission number 1 is arrest the Trump regime criminals and purge this motherfucker's name off absolutely everything. I don't even want to see his name on the buildings that he owns. I think we should strip the entire family of all of their wealth. I think we should liquidate all their shit. This is it's not a family, it's a criminal syndicate. It's a fucking cartel. And they commit crimes on literally a daily basis. But this psycho was trying to give himself, or considering giving himself, the Medal of Honor.
Joe Rogan, as I speak to you right now, is at the White House sucking off Donald Trump. I wish I was kidding. I am kidding about the literally sucking him off. He's not literally. He's metaphorically sucking off Trump at the White House in the most disgusting way imaginable. So Tennessee Holler points this out on Twitter. After pretending to be horrified by Trump's policies, Rogan is in the Oval Office standing up to Trump. Just kidding. He's kissing Trump's ass because, of course, he is. So the reason why Rogan is there is because they're doing this signing ceremony for this executive order that Trump is signing. He's loosening the regulations around psychedelic drugs, certain psychedelic substances that have shown some promise to ease mental illness. And so Rogan's there for this signing ceremony. He's telling everybody this story about how Donald Trump, Rogan texted him some articles about how this Ibogaine stuff shows some promise. So Trump says, really good. You want some FDA approval? Let me give you some FDA approval. And that's enough to get Joe Rogan to be in the Oval Office of fucking modern day Hitler, okay, and to sing his praises. So this is at a time, by the way, and we'll get to this in a second, where his approval ratings are the lowest that they've ever been. His average is in the 30s. And of course, now even many right-wingers have woken up to the fact that this guy commits war crime after war crime after war crime on a daily basis. He's beefing with the Pope. He's depicting himself as Jesus. He's a malignant narcissist. He's spiraled completely and utterly out of control. He's destroying the country on a daily basis. And this is the equivalent of somebody saying, yeah, I'm working with the Fuhrer because he did a good job fixing the potholes on my street. Like, that's effectively what this shit is. Okay, and he's using you, you fucking idiot. He's using you, you jackass. How do you not realize that? He's had a falling out with fucking Tucker Carlson, with Megyn Kelly, with a whole slate of right-wing pundits who have decent-sized audiences, right? He's gone further and further into this corner where it's only like Laura Loomer and Mark Levin cheering him on and Sean Hannity, right? And then you're going to loan your fucking celebrity and your credibility to this idiot, to this monster, to this war criminal, to this pedophile and rapist at this late date? Like, don't get me wrong, by the way. Do I support the policy of, like, you know, loosening the primitive regulations around psychedelic drugs? Of course I do. But, you know, hey, man, time and a place. You also could have said, oh, sorry, I can't make it that day. So Trump signs the executive order and you're not there to fucking slurp his ball sweat. I mean, it's embarrassing. What's up, guys? Got some big breaking news that I wanted to share with you real quick. So apparently, Live Golf is going under. Now, that's the Saudi league, and the reason why this is a huge deal is because this is a massive fuck you to Donald Trump on behalf of the Saudis. And they are pissed off, and the reason they're pissed off is because of the war. I know there's been some reporting that, no, indeed, they want the war, and they've lobbied behind the scenes to continue the war. I had a hunch that that might be bullshit, and this now tells me, without any doubt whatsoever, it's bullshit. The Saudis are absolutely furious over this war against Iran, because if you think about it, it's absolutely destroyed their economy. Like, every single Gulf Arab state, their economies are now cooked. Because, think about it, what were they known for? Well, of course, they're known for their oil, right? Well, the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, so they're screwed on that front. Their biggest industry, screwed overnight, right? But then you also have, there were like a 1% getaway, like a luxury Epstein-class getaway. Well, guess what? Now, no Western rich people want to go there anymore because there's a massive fucking war going on, and they know that at any moment, shit can be bombed. It is no longer viewed as a stable place. So, given that scenario, basically what Saudi Arabia is doing here is they're trying to send a message to Trump that we will fucking decouple with the West. We will decouple with you, and we will personally hurt your bottom line. Because let's remember, a lot of these Live Golf events, they happened at Trump courses. And so to say we're wrapping this thing up is directly affecting his bottom line. It's the Saudis who gave Jared Kushner $2 billion for his financial firm, right? Like, they're in deep. Qatar is in deep. Saudi Arabia is in deep. Donald Trump has probably made tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars from the Live Golf League. They poached a lot of the great players from the PGA Tour and paid them a shitload of money. You know, the league didn't start that long ago, and they were like, oh, we're committed to this thing for the long haul. Well, now, all of those players are fucked. They're determining whether or not to stop after the tournament this week, which is in Mexico City, or go to the end of the year and then stop. But a lot of those players are now fucked because it's not guaranteed that they're going to be able to get back to the PGA Tour. They'd have to pay a big fine. There'd be a whole process. But this, make no mistake about it, this is directly because the Saudis are furious with Donald Trump, and this is one of their ways of trying to tell him, look, if you don't wrap this up and get that Strait of Hormuz open, we will decouple even more with the West. We will, distance ourselves more. We're not interested in enriching your shitty fucking corrupt family anymore because you've now destroyed our economies. You've destroyed our bottom line. And, we might actually end up snuggling up to the Chinese, snuggling up to your competitor.
This country from having a nuclear weapon. You want to see a stock market go down? let a couple of nuclear bombs be dropped on us, or frankly, any place else.
He's talking about the N-word. This is what you say. The N-word, the nuclear. Let it go. You want to see the stock market go down? Let him nuke us, or maybe we nuke somebody else. Oh my God, bro. Can he say it any more clearly? Can he say it any more directly? This is now what? Time? Are we in double digits? We might be double digits with the president of the United States threatening nukes. This is crazy, bro.
And you'll see a stock market that goes down. So the stock market has not gone down very much at all. Gone down a little bit. Much less than I thought. And frankly, the gas hasn't gone up as much as I thought. But regardless, even if it did, we have to stop this group of people from having, and again, it was worse because Khomeini was a total, radical, I'll be nice, maniac. He was a maniac.
By the way, the Grand Ayatollah who he's talking about that he killed issued a fatwa against nuclear weapons. He was the thing that was standing in between Iran and making nuclear weapons. He's the reason they did not want to make nuclear weapons. He called it un-Islamic. Okay, you got rid of that guy. His more extreme hardliner son took over. Now, they'd be stupid if they don't get nukes, because it's the only thing that can guarantee that Israel and the U.S., the axis of Epstein, has to stop messing with them. It's the only thing.
And you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Right. So I just have the greatest economy ever. Everything's going along, and I say, I'm sorry. I tell my economic advisors, I say, I'm sorry, fellas. We're in great shape. We have to go and take a little journey down to Iran, and we have to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. They all said.
It almost sounds like he's trying to convince himself of that he did the right thing, right? Like he's so desperate, he's falling apart. He's like retelling the story and trying to convince himself like everything was going great, and then we had to take a little detour, or as he called it, an excursion. We got to take a little excursion, but he's still not done. Now he also babbles, yet again, to show he's not in his right frame of mind. He has completely and utterly lost control of the situation. It has spiraled out of control. The U.S. is committing war crimes day after day. Israel is committing war crimes day after day. Iran is still fully controlling the Strait of Hormuz. They have basically veto power over the health of the global economy. Nothing is going the way that they predicted it would go, right? And what does Trump do? He goes on TV and he says this.
I was thinking about calling it the Gulf of Trump, and I decided not to do it. I think maybe it was a wise. I think that one maybe wouldn't have worked out. I'm not so sure. You'll have to tell me. But I was thinking about it's going to be called the Gulf of Trump.
Look at her face. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Listen to some of the stuff that he's saying. Here we go.
Doing well at all. They're getting killed. I could take out Iran in one day. I could take down in 1 hour. I could have their entire energy, everything, every one of their plants, their electric generating plants, which is a big deal. And I hate to do it because if I do it, it takes you 10 years to rebuild. They'll never be able to rebuild it.
He's musing about, I could take out Iran in one day. I could take out Iran in one day if I wanted to. By the way, when you have an unhinged president with dementia, with early Alzheimer's, and he's saying stuff like that, this is where in a normal functioning system, they would immediately invoke the 25th Amendment and get his ass out of there. The generals would act as a last line of defense if they absolutely had to. But no, he just casually says this. We're going to get to more in a little bit. He keeps bringing up, like, I could destroy them in one day. And he keeps casually bringing up nukes, too. We'll get to that in a second, but let's keep going. Here we go.
Because if I do it, it takes you 10 years to rebuild. They'll never be able to rebuild it. And the other thing you take out are the bridges. I took out one just to show them.
Bragging about war crimes. Bragging about war crimes. Shit that should get you locked up in The Hague immediately like that. It's like going on TV and talking about how you're a serial killer and talking in detail about the last blonde that you kidnapped off the street and murdered.
They went public with a statement that wasn't true. They admitted it. I say, I'm going to take out a bridge. And I took out a bridge. And that was the end of that. Now they've been really behaving quite well.
Even she's shocked by this. Look at her face. She's like, what have I got myself into? What is he babbling about?
But in 1/2 of a day, they wouldn't have one bridge standing. They wouldn't have one electric generating plant standing.
This is like Osama bin Laden doing a media hit and saying, I could just take out all of America within one day. I can get a dirty nuke from Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, and I could take out America within one day. I could destroy all the bridges. I could destroy all of the government buildings. This is what this is like. This is like ISIS shit. We have an ISIS president, y'all.
And they're back in the Stone Ages. I'd rather not do that. But I do believe they're going to come to the table on this because nobody can be so stupid as to say that we want to have nuclear weapons and they have no cards. They have no cards whatsoever.
Vai quicando, vai jogando, não perde a razão no batidão, só pura tentação. Ela desce, ela sobe, banheiro, pressão, menina perigosa.
In the twilight zone right now. I am officially in the twilight zone right now. And I'm sitting there watching Trump wreck MAGA, wreck the Republicans, wreck the world economy, maybe wreck the planet physically. And then I'm just looking over at the Democrats smiling and giggling and everything else when they did nothing in Congress to block this. Playing with fire, gambling again. There should be a coalition of Republicans and Democrats, and they should vote in on the war powers and say you don't have it, and they should cut the damn funding of this. My God, what's it going to take, Trump ending the war?
So I just woke up, guys, and I'm scrolling Twitter, and the first thing I see, Trump said the following: "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight. One of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran." He starts the post by saying, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again." And he ends it with, "God bless the great people of Iran." This shit is not funny. It's not cute. It's not interesting. It's not whatever new episode this is of the TV series that we call the United States of America. It's time to cancel this bitch. It's time to get this off the air. Bro, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, "All right, y'all got a 25th Amendment, this guy. This is not fucking acceptable. This is like, he's got to go, bro. He's got to go." I'm getting messages from my Iranian friends who are saying, "I'm freaking out, man. Is he going to nuke the country?" This friend has family that's still in Iran. He's talking about a whole civilization will die tonight. Look, I don't want to hear shit from anybody. We're at the point where it is justified completely, 100%, not only the 25th Amendment, not only to impeach, remove, and arrest. It is totally justified for fucking generals to go, "Yeah, you're done. Yeah, you're done. We're not, arrest him." That's where we're at. We're at the point where a motherfucking military coup is more democratic than letting this shit continue. Do y'all understand that?
I am completely and utterly done with Hassan derangement syndrome. Let me just say, as clear as I possibly can, if you are a political commentator and you have a take on Hassan Piker, do me a favor and just shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. This hopefully will be the last time I have to fucking address this. But I am so sick. We're living in a world where Donald Trump is waging an illegal and offensive war against Iran. The outline of World War III is there for shit sure. Anybody with a functioning brain can see it. China, Russia, Iran versus us and Israel, with a hesitant Europe to fucking take a side. Even the Gulf Arab states now are hesitant to sort of take a side. You see the outlines there. The Strait of Hormuz is shut down. Gas is absolutely skyrocketing. Our AI bubble is about to burst seemingly any minute. We have a looming fucking global depression that's about to hit. We have war crime after war crime after war crime being committed on a daily basis. We have fears of a Moab or nukes about to be used in Iran. They're attacking hospitals. They're attacking schools. Israel is stealing South Lebanon right now as we speak. They displaced 1.1 million people. They're bulldozing their homes. They're seizing their land. All this shit is going on. And we're supposed to have a fucking conversation about Hassan Piker. Did you guys see that in 2019, he said this thing, which was really politically incorrect and rude? I don't give a fuck if he was having sex with your grandma in 2019 or 2012. I don't give a fuck. Why are we having this conversation? Why are we talking about him? It's all there, bro. It's all there. And again, if this was any other president, we'd be talking about this 24/7. It'd be a huge deal. People would point out. I'm telling you, man, when the history books look back at this moment, they're going to say, what the hell was wrong with you people? It is very clear. You have somebody who has early Alzheimer's right now. It's very clear. So his brain is gone. He just launched an illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us. We see the outlines of World War III. We've planted the seeds for a massive global economic depression. As all that's going on, he can't shut the fuck up about the Trump Kennedy Center and the Epstein Memorial Ballroom and all his other vanity projects like the Donald J. Trump International Airport in Palm Beach and signing his name on currency and shit like that. This is one of those moments. Hey, what did you do when you were alive through this moment? Did you sit there and take it? Or did you actually stand up and fight back and try to get this guy impeached and removed and arrested? Like, that's the only way out of this, bro. He's got to be impeached. He's got to be removed. He's got to be arrested. This is not sustainable by any stretch of the imagination. This is as bad as it gets. So the Daily Beast says the following. A new investigation has reportedly backed up evidence given by a woman who has accused Donald Trump of sexually abusing her when she was 13. The woman who accuses Trump of raping her when she was a child, 13, told the truth about, number 1, her mom going to jail for embezzlement. Number 2, her mom using naked photos of her as a child to pay off men. Number 3, being trafficked by Epstein to Jimmy Atkins and being sexually abused by him. She also told the truth about being graped by Epstein because she was paid a settlement by the Epstein estate, and settlements don't happen if the victim is lying ever. She was deemed credible by the FBI in 2019, and she was in fact interviewed 4 times. We covered that on the show recently when we learned that. That's a big deal. They thought she was credible enough to interview her 4 separate times, okay? And we are supposed to believe that the literal only thing she lied about is Trump sexually abusing her when she was 13? Why the hell would she tell the documented truth about everything else and not about Trump? She's clearly telling the truth, and the FBI thought so too. So guys, this is a big deal. If they're able to corroborate all this other stuff that she said, is it really that much of a leap to say, hey, she was telling the truth about Trump and Epstein as well, telling the truth about the specific allegations that were made against Donald Trump? So not to get too disgusting, not to get too gross, not to get too traumatic in here, but the fact of the matter is the claims against Trump were atrocious. It involved physical abuse. It involved assaulting her, punching her. It involved cruelty. Apparently, he's very sadistic and he gets off on cruelty and violence. He had like this, I don't know, it was almost like a slave type fantasy over this immigrant girl who was there as well, another underage girl. And in this fantasy, he like had the immigrant girl pleasure him, and then he would yell at her and berate her and say, this one is going to show you how to do it, and bring in Katie Johnson, the 13-year-old white girl, to do it as well. Very clearly, he was like sort of high up in the Epstein group, right? Like he very clearly had some power. He very clearly was familiar with being in these rooms where it's quite literally like sex crimes, where it's like underage orgies. And she tells these just horrifying stories about how it was perpetual and routine abuse, right? And then look, when you learn that there's evidence that backs up the Katie Johnson story, even though at first when people heard Katie Johnson, they were like, oh, that seems kind of out there, really? Like 13-year-olds are being trafficked and they have these detailed stories of years and years and years of abuse. I can understand some people going, whoa, that seems like out there. That's kind of wild. But the fact that there's now evidence to back up her claims then leads you to believe, well, what about the Sasha Riley claims?
Well, he's also a communist.
Oh my God, bro. Oh my God, I'm done. He called Zoran a communist, y'all. Well, if that's a communist, sign me up, motherfucker. Sign me up. If that's what communism is, what this guy's doing, by the way, what has he already done? Cracked down on shitty landlords, already did that. Ordered a deep cleaning of the subway within the first week. Handled the winter storms phenomenally well. Everybody loved how he did that. Even Republicans were giving him support for that. He got Hochul on board for universal child care, which is one of his campaign promises, so he's going to deliver on that. And he was able to freeze the rent. He's been able to work fucking wonders. It's been magical, the shit he's been able to pull off, which, by the way, that's why he's ranked as one of the most popular Democratic politicians in the country right now. Notice, none of that is coming up. It's all fucking smear. It's calling him inexperienced. It's smearing him. It's calling him a communist. This is fucking your great-grandpa's political show that they watch. That's what this is. This is for, like, boomers in nursing homes who only 32% of their brain still works.